Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Super Stardust Delta. This came out... oh dear. This came out the day of the Vita's release. Was it the day of the Vita's release or did it come out with the first edition bundle? No, I don't think it came out with the first edition bundle, so yeah. Either way, this game came out launch week, so... it's interesting to see that it still remains one of the prettiest Vita games to this day. I mean, look at all the effects they got going on here. That just looks lovely, but we'll get into that. Oddly enough, you have to use the touchscreen in the menus, and then you can use the buttons in game. It's a little odd, but oh well. So we'll go have a look around. I put about an hour into this on this save file. I did do a fresh save file for the purpose of playing this, but I have got it on my backup Vita, not my backup Vita, my spare Vita, the ones I keep the games on that I actually want to play. So, yeah, I've played a fair bit of it. I have played all the way to the end of the arcade mode before. And honestly, playing through it again, I'm not entirely sure how I did it. Because, Jesus Christ, I suck at this. But oh well. If we go have a look at the options menu, you can change a few settings here. These settings are actually kind of annoying, because if you try to change one, you might accidentally tap the one above or below it. But, yeah, so as you can see, there are different soundtracks you can unlock as well by doing specific things, playing the game for a specific amount of time. Or you can get them via Nier, because this was a launch title game, so they definitely, you know, had a reason to try and get that little thing in. And also, in case you didn't notice, the background of the menu there is moving along with the accelerometer, which is okay, but at the same time, you just don't look at it too hard, you might get motion sick. You can also change the camera distance so that it doesn't rely on using the tilting, because you really probably want to do that. In fact, you can change the control setup entirely, and I fully recommend you do this, because by default, to use the black hole requires you to actually shake your Vita around a bit, and as you can see, that's probably making you feel ill. Well, it would make me feel a bit ill too, but you can change everything from using touchscreen, rear touchpad. You can swap the sticks for some reason. I don't know why you'd do that, but, you know, if you want to, it's there. And, of course, the EULA, which we don't want to read. There's a high score table for every mode in the entire game, as you might expect. So, yeah, there's the top score, 182 million points. That's a pretty good score, actually. There are mini-games, but they're all basically just, you know, it's a Vita launch title, so they had to use some of the gimmicks. So we'll do a wave or two of Orbit Bomber just to show you how one of these tend to work, but it shouldn't really surprise you how this works. So here's the thing. You just got to move it around, and you got to wait for the enemies to come down, and you got to just shoot them and make sure they don't get to your thing in the middle. And all the other things have gimmicks like this, and there is a DLC that came out for the game in the launch week, which included things like an endless mode, which, you know, pretty obvious how that works. There's a bloody endless mode. And there are other modes included in it too. Like, you move with the 6-axis, but for some reason you have access to both your guns. That's a mode that's in the game. There's a mode that only lets you use bombs to continue on, so they're just little side modes. They're nothing particularly major. They just need little ways to play the game, but the DLC is entirely too expensive. It's like the main game is $10 and the DLC is like $7.99, so I have no idea why. But oh well, we'll actually just go and play the real mode now. You can play planet by planet, or you can play the arcade mode, and you can play all the way through to get a high score. So we can start off Delta mode, which has all the different stuff unlocked, or we can play pure mode, which only has the smart bomb, and your boost only doesn't have any slow motion on it. We will play on normal difficulty on pure mode. I know you can't see like any sort of menu feedback, so you don't know what I'm tapping, but yeah. It's actually kind of nice because they show you where all your controls have been remapped on the screen here, just in case you forget, which I tend to do fairly often, so let's just hop on in. We're starting at the very beginning. This is the first planet, first wave. Now, this is how Super Stardust works. You have two different weapons, the fire weapon and the ice weapon. And these weapons can be individually powered up, as you can see by those pickups that I just picked up down there. And since these weapons are now more powerful, they do more damage. And I won't have to swap weapons for a while, but I'll do it anyway just for the purpose of demonstration. But that's the ice weapon. And the two weapons do play entirely differently. And depending on the color of what you're shooting them with, it will do different amounts of damage. So obviously you want to be swipping. You want to be swipping weapons. Yeah. You want to be swapping weapons constantly. Because doing as much damage as possible in this game is very useful. Because as you can tell by the fact that the rocks very satisfyingly break into a million goddamn pieces, they can tend to be all over the place. And the more damage you're able to dish out over the shorter amount of time, the better. Because the less shit you have on the screen, the better it is for everyone involved. You will other times see other different kinds of power-ups. Like the one I just picked up is the special power-up. And the special power-up lets you use your special weapons, which are the EMP bomb, the missile, and the black hole. I just demonstrated the EMP bomb. It's very simple, goes out in a circular motion around you, and does a large amount of damage for everything in that circle. There is also the black hole, which brings everything in towards you, and the missiles, which fire out in every direction. And when they fire out in every direction, they'll come back around the circle, but generally you want to use it when you're completely goddamn surrounded. And when you're completely goddamn surrounded, well, yeah, you'll hit everything with every one of those. There is also the boost functionality, and the boost functionality is mapped to the L button by default. And when you press the L button, the game will go into slow motion for a couple of seconds, unless you're on pure mode, of course. And you will start moving very fast, and you'll have an impenetrable shield for a short but good amount of time. And you can extend how long you're in the boost mode for via the usage of these power-ups. And I almost got fucking bodied by... Had to open my goddamn mouth, didn't I? Jesus Christ. I got bodied by that guy there, and when you get bodied, you unfortunately lose your score multiplier, which you just earn over time, as far as I can tell. You might also earn it by getting through individual phases, but I haven't been paying too close attention. I've just noticed that it goes up over time. The little green things that drop out on the ground are... I can't remember what they're called. They're in the stats menu. But again, I wasn't paying that much attention when I was looking through the stats menu because I was trying to talk to you about this bloody game, so that's just generally what happens. But yeah, you pick these little green things up, and that little counter in the bottom right there charges up. And when it does, you will get that pickup spawned on, well, not so much on top of you as it'll just drop the power-up down near you. And of course, the power-ups are timed. But the funny thing about the power-ups being timed in this game is that they don't just, like, disappear or evaporate. The weapons change to the other kind of weapon. So it's like, if you're not looking for an ice power-up because your ice is at, like, 90% or something, you can wait for it to swap to the other weapon. But any other weapon that drops down won't disappear. Some little thing, this little alien creature thing... alien ship thing, I should say, will pop down and steal it. Like the little guys in Defender, you know, the old arcade game Defender, they'll just pop down and steal the humans. Well, they'll just pop down and steal the goddamn, they'll just pop down and steal the freaking power-up right from under you. Kind of funny, actually, considering this is from Housemarque, the people who made Resogun. And Resogun, while being a very good game in its own right, was basically a Defender clone. But this is still a pretty good, damn good game in itself, even if it is just ripping off, well, not so much ripping off, but taking the concept of, well, that's a good question, actually. What is this taking the concept of? It is relatively original, and it's really old. Like, Housemarque, the developers, have been around since the Amiga days, and their first actual Amiga game was Super Stardust. This is Super Stardust Delta. It's like the 4th in the series, or the 5th, I think, but, yeah, they've been making this series all the way since, the good old Amiga, which is actually kind of neat. I'd like to play the old Amiga Super Stardust one day. I probably should, actually. I've got an emulator. I don't know why I don't. But yeah, they've been making this series for a while, and what's here is actually really good. You only have 2 weapons, which some might argue gets a little bit repetitive, and you'd be right. You really shouldn't be playing this game for very long periods. But the weapons themselves are actually really satisfying to use, and the different types of enemies they drop down, like those red bastards that explode and take out everyone near them, it's just really satisfying to hit one and just watch them all blow up. And the sort of whippiness of this fire weapon combined with the just overall spread power of the ice weapon is a really nice duology between the two weapons. They balance each other out really well, and it's a really good set of weapons, and it's just nice. And you do have all the other weapons to play around with as well, and I'll be happy to show you one because we're about to come up on a big boss fight if I remember correctly. Because yeah, there are boss fights. At the end of every individual planet, there is indeed an individual boss fight. And the boss fights can get pretty freaking mental. We're not actually there yet, but we will be there shortly. Just take out that rock. And just watching all these little rocks fly around and just devolve into millions of pieces is great. It looks wonderful too. There's barely any performance drop that I've seen. In fact, I don't think I can recall the performance dropping at all in game. So, the fact that they managed to have all these different rocks and effects and pieces and stuff flying around on the screen and somehow managing to keep it all running at a really good frame rate. It feels like 60. It really does feel like 60. I might be wrong on that, but it's a very smooth experience, no matter what, if it's 30 or 60. So yeah, all props to them for making this game not only look magnificent, but run really well too. Hello, boss. So as you can see, it's color-coded, just like the rest of the stuff, and you just have to try and take them out. Unfortunately, these guys can get a little bloody annoying. As you can see right here, because this guy's just firing out an absolute ton of bullets, and I have to try and avoid them. And there's a giant rock over there, which I really don't want to get in the way of, but, you know, that's just the way it happens. I'll just boost over here. You can actually boost a lot in this game. Like, you recharge boost really quickly, so it's not that big of a deal if you need to use it, because it's basically your very last get out of jail free card. If you use it, you'll get it back really fast. So I might actually have to use it here, but yeah. Okay, that's one side down. Now we just need to take out the other side. But he's about to put back down and start firing off his laser cannons again. You can't hit him while he's just, you know, covering his weak spot. Bit strange when you think about it, because you'd think a bloody, like, whippy laser of death would be able to go under him, considering he's not, like, crushed against the surface of the planet or something. But, you know, just minor things, right? Yay, a shield power up. Now I won't suck as much. So yeah, Super Stardust Delta is actually really good. Yeah, could you not tell? I mean, for a launch title, for this to remain one of the most, like, visually impressive and interesting games of the Vita's, like, repertoire is actually really neat. And I'm pretty damn impressed with it. So yeah, this is how you get bonus rocks. You just shoot them as they come down, and you'll eventually get this. And if you don't know what to do with this, you boost into it. Took me a while to figure that out, but once you do, giant green rock, all the power-ups. That is way more satisfying than it has any right to be, and it's kind of neat. You know what? Black hole time. And it even draws in all these other things as well, so I just got all of these points. My score is going to the freaking ceiling, and it is awesome. They've done a really good job with simple but satisfying gameplay with this game. It's really just really impressive. And they recently announced that they're making a Super Stardust VR, and I honestly have no idea how that's gonna work, but oh god. Oh, that was so close. That could not have been closer. Jesus Christ. Man, that was a bit of a rush. Let's just get that out of there and try and take this out. There we go. And what's under here? It's another special ammo. That's a good thing, because can never have enough bombs to go around, you know. See, look at this. The amount of shit they drop down in this game is just insane sometimes. Generally, you have to be watching everything at all times. Why do you think I keep the camera on far? Because if you put it in any closer, you can't see something you might just be able to run into. I'll just demonstrate how missiles work now. So here you go. See, the missiles just go everywhere and destroy everything. And if you boost, you'll collect all the little green things that drop as well. So it's a good way to pick up a ton of this shit in a really small amount of time if much of it's about to expire. So, you know. But yeah, just overall, it's a really goddamn neat game. We're going to play it until I run out of lives or something. I mean, I've got like 4 lives right now. I'm doing okay, but the bosses in this game are definitely the most difficult part. That might be one of my criticisms of the game. The bosses just jump up in difficulty massively, and it's actually kind of hard to avoid getting killed by them. Especially when you've got a bunch of shit that's going around the screen at the same time. It can just be really hard to take care of. But, I mean, it's really hard to come up with legitimate criticisms of Super Stardust because it's just so well put together that anything that I do say about it would be, what's the word, just, like, unnecessarily nitpicky? I guess I could say that I don't like the idea of all those other alternate modes, like the Endless mode being locked behind a paywall, and the idea that most of the mini-games that they include aren't really even related to the game in general. They're just, what's the word I'm looking for? They're just, like, touch-based mini-games, but pretty much every game that came out around the time of the Vita's launch had one of those sorts of gimmicks in there, and it's kind of hard to look at Super Stardust Delta and say it's as guilty of it, because, again, you can remap every control in the game so that you don't have to worry about any sort of gimmick like that unless you absolutely insist on it. And unless you're an absolute idiot that, like, willingly likes that sort of stuff for some reason, then you'll probably be fine with just, like, remapping the controls and pretending the minigames don't exist after you've gotten, like, the trophies that are related to them or something. Gotta wait for this guy to stop shooting, then circle around the back and blow his ass. Phrasing! I don't even watch Archer. Why am I using the phrasing joke? But yeah, but yeah, basically, every complaint that I would have about Super Stardust is either me being shit or not really related to the actual game as much as related to just random, unrelated shit outside the game. The actual game itself is really good. Like, when you just hop into the main mode and just start blowing shit up, is really cathartic. And if you had to ask me to pick out, like, the best, like, twin-stick shooter on Vita, because we've got a fair few of them at this point, actually. It's been, like, what, nearly 5 years? So we have had a fair few twin-stick shooters, but if you had to ask me what the best twin-stick shooter is, I would I'd be at odds to answer, because we do have Geometry Wars 3, and we do have, well, Assault Android Cactus is supposed to be coming to the Vita at some point, and that game's really good too, but, I should go ask about that, actually, now that my mind's on it. But yeah, we've got a bunch of good twin-stick shooters on here, so, I mean, Super Stardust is definitely in, like, the top 3, like, without question. My brain's just, like, completely bugging out at the moment, trying to remember just what the bloody hell. Bomb. Missiles. I just used all my special ammo. I'm in trouble. Boost. Yay. Made it out. I made it out. And I got an extra life. Man, this game's going great. Man, the last game of this I tried to play, I didn't get anywhere near this far. Well, I did actually get this far in. I got to like the 3rd stage, but I had like no lives. Second boss time, huh? I remember when I was facing the 3rd boss, I actually lost my my last life on that run to the I actually lost my last life on that run to the goddamn brain, to the goddamn enemies that spawned in before the actual boss spawned in, and it was infuriating. That was a bit stupid, but yeah, I'll stop playing after this boss, because, I don't want to show off the entire game in one fell swoop. And the later levels are the most craziest of them all, so, you know, can't spoil too many of the game's secrets, can I? But yeah, if Super Stardust Delta passed you by when it came out, for whatever reason, I mean, I remember it being one of the highest rated Vita games at the time. If it passed you by, give it a look. It's still only $10, so shit. It's still only $10. So, I mean, there is a pack that lets you buy the DLC and the game itself for $15, which will save you a couple of bucks in the long run. But, I mean, if you just want to play the main game, the main pack will do you just fine, and it's only $10, so yeah, I fully recommend having a look at Super Stardust Delta. It's fun as hell. You stay back. I don't like you. It's got online leaderboards, and while the main game itself will be over in like an hour or so if you're a good enough player, you'd have to be an even better player in order to max out your multiplier, get the highest score going, and get to the top of the leaderboard, you know? So you need to be a really good player to pull that one off. Come on, spread them apart and let me at you. I don't unfortunately have any of my spare weapons, so this is going to be a little bit annoying. I just love that little effect, just the way the whip spins around, it's really well done. Come on, you son of a bitch. Ah, that was stupid. That was really stupid. I am wonderful at video games, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Come on. Let me... You son of a bitch. Come on, let me see that lovely face of yours. You get away. Damn it! Not screw it, you die now. Even though I had to blow myself up to do it, I even got a bonus life and weapon overdrive for my trouble, but, and super points, but unfortunately I'm gonna go to the next level, so I don't even get to pick that up, which is annoying. But yeah, I'm just gonna quit out, here and now, but, yeah. That was a look at Super Stardust Delta. It is well worth your time if you're even a remote fan of twin-stick shooters. Hell, it's worth checking out even if you're not, because it is a really good example of one and is different from games like Geometry Wars. It's got its own little thing going on, and I mean, for $10, I mean, sure, it doesn't have that much content involved in it, but I mean, you know, score attacking's there, and if you're really desperate for an endless mode, you can pick up the $15 bundle. But there you go. And if you're wondering why I didn't show those modes off, it's because I don't own them, because I didn't have $8 to spend on that DLC. But yeah. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.